All right, I am here with Emery Brew, who is an admissions counselor at Indiana Wesleyan University. He serves the counties of Marion, Hamilton, Boone, Madison, and Tipton counties, but he has graciously volunteered because I kept hounding him for to help me with this today. So, Emery, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, no problem at all.
All right, so Indiana Wesleyan University. Tell me a little bit about it, where it's located, how many kids are there, any other pertinent information you think I need to know, and why should someone go there like yourself?
Yeah. So a little bit more about who I am. He said someone like myself to go there. I graduated from here in April, so fresh out of school, had a media communication degree, loved my experience here. But a little bit more about the university itself. We were founded in 1920, so just a little over 100 years. We started our institution with the global pandemic, and we had our centennial with another global pandemic. So in another 100 years, you should probably expect another one to come. but yeah, so founded in 1920, 1988 is when we went from Marion College. That was the first name that we had. And then 1988 transitioned over into Indiana Wesleyan University. So that's what we've been called now. Our enrollment is from last year. We don't have quite the updated facts on enrollment from this year, but from last year came in at 2,423 on-campus students. So probably roughly the same size as Franklin. Would I be correct in saying that? Or a little bit bigger?
Yeah, we've got about 1,600 kids.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I couldn't remember how big the corporation was, but yeah, a little bit bigger than Franklin. Let's see. Wow, what were the other questions? Other pertinent information?
Where you're located.
Yeah.
I know you have some athletics, so like what division that is and everything.
Yeah, so located in Marion, Indiana. So for those of you who don't know, picture just basically smack dab in between Indianapolis and Fort Wayne. So if anyone's familiar with how the roads work in Indiana, if you travel up 37, State Road 37, State Road 37 ends at the stoplight right before our campus and then transitions into Washington Street, which is the road that runs right on the west side of our campus. So if you just hop up 37 and take that all the way up, you don't even have to plug in a GPS. You're going to drive right by Indiana Wesleyan. So super conveniently located. It's about, I'd say, about an hour from the north side of Indianapolis time-wise. Athletics-wise, we are an NAIA institution. So if you compare that to NCAA Division I, II, or III, those kinds of divisions, we're pretty comparable with Division II for athletics. So picture that if you're interested in the athletic side. Other pertinent information about us. There are some surveys by niche.com. They do kind of like all these different college surveys, and they rank colleges based on different categories. They ranked us as having the best dorms in the state of Indiana. They ranked us as a top 5 nursing school in the state as well. Along with that, a top 5 campus in the entire state. And then we were ranked the 11th Christian college in the entire nation. So a little bit more information about us. And then our student faculty ratio is 12-1. So I'll go into a little bit why I think that's important, just because I believe that having a smaller ratio from student to faculty allows for more intentionality behind those relationships, allows for students to get closer with their faculty members, and basically allows them to be valued more than just the student. I went to a smaller high school on the west side of Indianapolis, and I had a small student faculty ratio. There it was like 15-1, and here it's even smaller. And so I know that in high school I enjoyed those that intentionality I had with my teachers, my professors, and so at Indiana Wesleyan I fit in just right. So yeah, that's a little bit more information about who we are as a university.
Yeah, it's like we mentioned before we started recording, I've been there several times. It's a beautiful campus, and the buildings there are so nice and just very updated, and it's a great place to go. So, okay. What do you look for in potential students, and what are your admission requirements?
Yeah. So when we look for someone to come to campus, we have these main kind of priorities, I guess, set. Ultimately, obviously you're going to college. So a student we want is someone who wants to be educated, someone who wants a great education surrounded by great people. And someone who's just willing to learn and willing to be challenged academically, because wherever you go for college, it's going to be tough. Just because the way academics work, the more advanced you get, the harder it can be. So college is a place of learning, obviously, but also a place of community. We want someone who wants to be surrounded by people who who truly care for them. We are a Christian institution, so we want people who will share a love for Christ, and who love being surrounded by those who share that love. We want people who come from all kinds of backgrounds. We are not asking for a specific student from a specific area. We have 73 countries represented on campus. And so for a small school of under 2,500 in the middle of nowhere, Indiana, having 73 countries across the world being represented is pretty big in terms of not only diversity, but just the multiple cultures involved, and the different backgrounds and different people you can meet. Ultimately, all three, like there's kind of three barriers that we want students who, or that we want students to be like pushed in or be challenged in. And that's academically, obviously, socially. You're going to meet amazing people. You're going to meet some friends who are going to be standing by your side on your wedding day. You're going to meet friends who 20 years from now, you're going to get back together and you're going to catch up. And it's like you guys never left college. And then thirdly, we want spiritually. So we want people who, regardless of where you are in your walks of faith, if you don't consider yourself a religious person, or you consider yourself very religious, we want someone who, or we want people who are willing to be open and having their faith tested, regardless of where their faith walks are.
Okay. And then as far as the academic requirements to get into Indiana Wesleyan, what are some of those?
Yeah, so we are test optional. So we used to require test scores. I know when I came in as a freshman in 2018, we required test scores in order to get in, along with your GPA and all that stuff. But now the only requirement we have in order to be accepted is GPA, and that GPA requirement is it's very loose. I wouldn't say it is a very firm kind of deadline or line, I guess, but the GPA like minimum, I guess, would be a 2.6, and we take weighted GPAs. So AP, dual enrollment, honors, use those to your advantage. So if you are at that 2.6 and above, that just means you get accepted with like no extra interviews, no extra steps to take. You get automatically accepted. If you fall just below that 2.6, that's completely okay. You go through what we call our foundations review. What that is that we basically see, if you fall below that 2.6, then at that point, we get to know who you are as a person. Because ultimately, yes, we see that GPA number. That's most of the time a good indicator of how good of a student you are. But then also, ultimately, we want you as a person on campus. If we believe you are a great person and you fit in well with the culture of the university, and we believe that you are going to thrive in the environment that we have, then we have no problem bringing you along and making sure that you get to Indiana Wesleyan. So there's a wide range of where students come from academically. That 2.6, like I said, is a very, very loose line. That just means you won't have to take any extra steps. So if you fall below, we may request to see like an extra or an updated transcript at the end of the first semester of your senior year of high school, or at the very end of high school, just to make sure that, yes, you are academically progressing. You've shown either constant growth or you haven't dipped your grades. But then ultimately, we just want to make sure that you're a good fit for the university.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's important to get the well-rounded students and just a wide variety of them, so that campus environment too is kind of a mixture, I guess, if you will. So,
right.
All right. So what are some of the majors that you guys have, the more popular ones? And then also, are there any like that are direct admit where you have to have different requirements in order to get into those schools?
Right. Yeah. So I would say the top majors at our school, number one is actually not even a declared major. It's pre-declared. So our top major is pre-declared. So those students who have not declared a major yet. But in terms of actual academic majors, the top three are nursing. Nursing is probably the top, is definitely the top major on campus. That is one of our direct admit programs, which I'll get into later. And then we have our behavioral sciences, so social work, psychology, counseling, that kind of stuff. And then teacher education. Those are our top three, and then ministry, business are right below that. Those are our top majors. But for nursing, I know I'm not sure if there's any extra direct admit steps you need from like getting in, but I know like staying in the program while at college, you need to maintain a 2.75 in like the core nursing classes.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, nursing is so popular right now, and it's just, you got to have some parameters, I guess, for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the way that major and that business is booming right now, especially right now, But I tell you what, it does pay well. So a lot of students get attracted to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of money, obviously the cost of college is a big issue with everyone. So what I have found in doing these interviews is that there is a cost, like a sticker cost, and then there's the price that people actually pay, because what everyone says is no one actually pays this for it. So what's the sticker cost? Yep. And then what's the thing, some financial aid that that's offered through Indiana Wesleyan?
Yeah. So our sticker cost for tuition is just under $30,000. It comes in at $29,684. And then our room and board is just over $10,000. So $10,050. So you put that all together, the sticker price is $39,734. So just under $40,000. But like you said, sticker price, I've not known a single person who has ever had to pay that amount of money, because that comes before all scholarships and aid. So like I was alluding to earlier, our academic scholarships that we offer are strictly based on GPA merit. Those are the only parameters. There are other external aids and automatically enrolled aids that you can get through your application. But from what we offer as academic scholarships as your base, it's strictly based on GPA. So like I said, we take weighted GPAs. So if you are at a 4.0 or above, and if you forget what I say, there's plenty of information on our website detailing this as well. So if you have a 4.0 or above, then you get $13,000 per year over 4 years. And that's called our President's Scholarship. So $52,000 over 4 years for the President's Scholarship. Just below that, if you fall below a 4.0 and above a 3.75, or at or above a 3.75, that is $11,000 a year. That's our Dean's Scholarship. So $44,000 over 4 years. Below that, so below 3.75 and at or above a 3.4 is our Faculty Scholarship, which is $9,000 a year. So $36,000 over 4 years. And then below that is like our biggest range GPA wise. It's our Achievement Scholarship, which is $7,000. So $28,000 over 4 years. And that goes from below 3.4 to at or above a 2.8. And then anything below 2.8 is our Recognition Scholarship. And that's $4,000 a year. So if you are someone who is right at that 2.6 minimum, and you get accepted, or if you're someone who's at a 4.5 weighted, every single student gets academic aid. It just depends on what your GPA is, and how much you can get. One thing I like mentioning about our GPA and our scholarships we offer with that is that it's a ladder. You can always go up in scholarship. You can never lose it. So let's say I'm a student. I have a 3.6. I qualify for the Faculty Scholarship at $9,000 a year. I submit my transcript in after my junior year that says I am at that 3.6. First semester of senior year, I'm killing it. I take AP classes and I do good in them. And then I submit another transcript at the end of the first semester and it moves up to a 3.8. Then I automatically get placed, like I send that transcript in, your admissions counselor will see that and place you in the next scholarship above. Because if you get above a 3.75, you then get $11,000 a year. So by going up a level, you get at least $8,000 over 4 years just from bumping up your GPA. On the flip side, after that first semester, I have that 3.8, and then senioritis hits me like a truck, because it will, and my GPA dips back down to that 3.6. I don't lose that 3.8 scholarship that I have, even though I dip down. So out of the 3 transcripts you send, so the one after your junior year, the one after your first semester of senior year, and the one post-graduation, out of those 3 transcripts, whichever one has the highest weighted GPA, that's the one we take into account for your scholarship.
That's nice. That is very nice.
Yep. Yeah. So I don't know if I should say this, but if you do have that 4.0 or above, you can afford to let senioritis hit you a little.
A little bit.
Just a little. Yeah. You still
if you've got over isn't going to be too much if you've got over that 4.0.
Yeah, exactly. And in order to maintain those scholarships while you're in school, you just have to stay in good academic standing. So what that means is, as a freshman, you have to just maintain from 1 to 28 credits. So basically through your freshman year, you have to maintain a 1.8 GPA. And by the end of your senior year, it turns into a cumulative 2.2. So very easy to maintain those scholarships.
Yeah, definitely. All right, last one. I'm going to get you out of here on this one, Emory.
Yep.
What's something when you were applying and going through this process a few years ago that you know now that you wish you had known then?
I would say one thing that I really regret not doing now that looking back on my application process and everything was overlooking external scholarships. Something that I really, because full transparency, I came into college. When I went to Indiana Wesleyan, I received the top level scholarship. I received the President's Scholarship, and I was very, very happy with that. And I was content. I'm like, all right, I got a good amount of aid. I played football at Indiana Wesleyan. I'm like, all right, well, maybe I can get some scholarship money. I'll be set. My parents are going to help pay for a little bit of college. Like, I should be good to go. And now looking back on the amount of loans that I have, I really wish I should apply for those external scholarships. So my brother, he came in with the scholarship level below me. And he's a sophomore here now, but he came with the scholarship level below me, and he actually has less money to pay off by the end of his college because he got more external aid. So applying for external aid, doing those Google search scholarships, stay on top of those, and also don't just go for the big ones. Like, obviously it's great to get those $5,000 scholarships, those external aids, but go for those $500 ones, go for those $1,000 ones, because sure, $500 towards your 39,000 and some change for tuition, room, and board doesn't seem like much, but if you can get those over 4 years and you can stack them on top of each other, that could be close to, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 that you don't have to pay in the future. That's a big chunk of change. So I would say that would be one thing that I would that I would advise is don't overlook those external scholarships and take them seriously.
Yeah. I mean, those little ones can add up, and just making sure you're looking for them. So that's great advice. Great advice. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Emory. I really appreciate your time in doing this. And Indiana Wesleyan is a great school, so we hope we'll be sending some kids up there to the Wildcats. Correct?
Yep, the Wildcats.
Wildcats. So once again, Emory Brew, admissions counselor at Indiana Wesleyan University. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Brian.